Hi, my name is Kayleigh, and in this video I'm going to show you how to install and wire your NTUNE6. I'm also going to show you how to install your 5-channel amp. For the sake of the video, I removed my driver's seat completely, however you just need to lean it back. In this step I'm going to show you how to connect your plug-and-play wiring to your NTUNE6. You're going to start out, you need to get these black wires out of the way. You're not going to be using those at the moment. Next, you're going to separate the wiring with only 2 purple wires. So for this part, I'm going to cut the wiring. I'm going to make sure to cut the 2 blue sets. I'm going to do the gray and white wiring and the green and purple wiring that have 4 wires on each. Okay, so for our next step, starting with my white wire with 0 black on it, I'm going to go ahead and strip it a little bit, just like that. Go ahead and twist it and stick it in my NTUNE6. Okay, getting all my wires inserted. I'm going to make sure they're in there snug but not too tight to where I'll break the wires. I'm going to make sure there's no wiring showing so they don't come in contact with each other and then they're not going to pop out. So following the colors on the NTUNE6, I'm going to connect my wires correctly. We're going to skip the amp blue for now, that is a later connection. You're going to put the yellow wire from harness 3 and the red wire from harness 3 in these 2 spots, and then this one is going to be for your ground black. For this next part, I'm going to show you how to connect your blue remote wire, your black ground wire, and your RCA cables. In this next part, I'm going to show you how to connect your RCA cables. You've got front, rear, and sub. You want to make sure to do white to white, red to red. For identification purposes, when I go to connect them, I like to put 1 mark on my front, 2 marks on my rear, and 3 marks on my sub. Okay, so now that I have my RCAs connected and my ground and remote wire, I'm going to go ahead and hide my NTUNE6 along with its wiring. Before I tuck this away, I'm going to go ahead and make sure to set this to mode 1, and you don't need to mess with any of these because they are already preset at the factory. Now that I have those wires connected, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hide my NTUNE6 along with the wiring. I'm going to kind of coil it up nicely and then stick it over here. I want to make sure I keep my amp wiring over here along with my subwoofer wiring. My ground wiring, I'm going to go ahead and lay this direction, and then my remote wire, I'm going to go ahead and lay this way. And lastly, I'm going to route my RCAs in this direction. Okay, so for this next part, I'm going to go ahead and lift up my carpet, and you're going to have 2 mounting locations. This one is going to be for mounting my amp rack, and this one is going to be my ground location. I'm going to go ahead and get some sandpaper, and I'm going to strip away the paint so I make sure I get a good ground. In this part of the video, I'm going to show you how to install your amp rack for your 5-channel amp in your Toyota Tundra. I'm going to go ahead and start out by moving it back and pulling up the carpet right here. We're going to start by connecting our ground wires to our ground location. Okay, you're going to go ahead and start by grabbing your ground wire to your amp and your ground wire to your NTUNE6. You're going to put the amp ground wire on the bottom and the other one on top. Slide those in there and start off by hand tightening it, making sure that these are out of the way of this mounting location over here. You want to make sure you get it nice and tight without stripping it. Now that I have my ground wires connected, I went ahead and put my carpet down, and I'm going to feed my power wire up through here by my fuse block, and I'm going to go ahead and connect my RCA cables. I have each cable labeled on the harness for rear, front, and sub right here. On this side for my rears. Make sure you click it in. Next I'm going to go ahead and do my fronts, which are going to be on this side. Then I can go ahead and put my sub, which is going to be in the middle. Go ahead and pop this one into place. Make sure you hear them click. And then you can get your cable for your bass knob, and that's going to plug in right above your fronts. I'm going to go ahead and run my sub wires through here. And then I'm going to grab my front and rear output wires. I'm going to run them through on this side, but I want to go under this cord right here. In this next step, we're going to be showing you where to mount your amp rack, you're going to lift up your carpet here. There's going to be 2 mounting locations, and you're going to have to poke holes in your carpet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the bolt included in my kit. I'm going to go ahead and insert it right here because I'm going to mark on my carpet where I'm going to need to poke holes. I'm going to go ahead and push down on my carpet so I can feel it. I'm going to make sure to make a mark right in the center of it. Do the same thing on the other end. Just a little tip, if you put enough pressure, it will mark underneath your carpet. Just made a crisscross slit here and here on both ends. That way my carpet stays pretty intact on this end, and now I can put my bolts through. Okay, so now that I have my amp rack aligned, I want to make sure it is lined up with these 2 holes that I did poke in my carpet. I'm just going to use scissors or something pointy to make sure it is in there correctly. And then I'm going to go ahead and start hand tightening these bolts on this side. Come over here and hand tighten this one as well. And then I'm going to go back with a 10mm and tighten them all up. Okay, so now that I have my power wire stripped, I'm going to go ahead and insert it into my fuse block. Stick it in, make sure there are no wires showing, and then tighten it up and make it nice and snug. Okay, so next I'm going to go ahead and connect my blue remote wire. I'm going to go ahead and strip this one. Go ahead and twist it. I'm going to be inserting it right here in this middle connection right there. Go ahead and insert it and make sure there's no wiring sticking out. Next I'm going to connect my sub wire. It's going to be positive here and negative here. Twist those and make sure there are no wires fraying. Go ahead and make these pretty snug. Okay, you want to go ahead and leave your amp output wires disconnected because in the next video I'm going to show you how to tune your amplifier to your Tundra.